Hello, 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 everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, or whenever you're watching this live. Did you miss me? I was quiet for last 4 weeks, right? So there's been so many things which has been happening. That's for another live. Today's time is for an expert who has come on show before as well. In my season 1, he was my first guest in my season 1 last year on July the 27th. That was July the 26th is my birthday. Don't you dare forget that. Oh, I do need a gift from you. So today I've got my very first guest on an expert interview show. Martin Greene. Martin Greene's birthday was yesterday. So what a coincidence, right? So that is what we are that's whom we are going to meet. And he's got an interesting topic. I've known Martin for around about 1.5 years or so. So it's quite interesting. This guy is wealth of knowledge. Okay. This you see people sometimes and they've got so much experience, so much knowledge, and you think, can we somehow distill that knowledge and put it in that bottle and use it forever and ever, right? So we can't all live and learn many things. Yes, life is of that sort where we have got, hey Craig, life is of that sort, right? We can live, and either we can live and learn, which is going to take ages. We don't have that time, or we can use someone else's experience and uh, almost use it as a jump pad to leverage ourselves into success a lot quicker than they did, right? So that is one of the things which I love when I speak to people, when I speak to expertise. And I think, God, if I could just take that expert and have the brain dump in me. I am one of those people, okay? So before I take any more of your time, let me introduce Marty. Marty, he goes by Marty, by the way. I always call him Martin for some strange reason. He told me a couple of days ago, call me Marty. That is another step into friendship, isn't it? He is one of those guys. He talks about a relationship, and anyway, that will show his age. I'm not going to give that away. He calls himself River Guide to Your Best Life. That is true, though. That's incredibly right topic, or right say title for someone of his expertise. And Marty has been training and coaching and mentoring since 1975. If I say anything around that age, you will calculate my age. I don't want that, okay? You can calculate his age, whatever you want to do. And he worked in education, sales, engineering, construction, corporate, and there is something even more dear between both of us is both of us were developers and using computers as well. So that is very, very interesting. So let me bring Marty in, and he's going to talk about EQ is the key. If you don't know what EQ is, you've got to find out from him. Marty, welcome on board, man. Welcome on board.
Thank you very much, Sudha. Thanks for inviting me. It's such a pleasure, and especially to see how you've transformed in just the space of a year. You were an awesome interviewer then, but your countenance is so bright, so much more bright even now.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I was on that one. We had enough things to going around, wasn't it? So tell us a little bit about yourself. And you are a Toastmaster as well. That's the second thing which I forgot to mention. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you all end up coaching, mentoring, and telling people how to sell and all of that? How did you do that?
Wow, long journey, and it really goes along with the River Guide theme. And that is, I started out, before I even started my full-time career being a music teacher, I was a bus tour guide for my 4 years of college. And what I found was I loved taking people on adventures to places that they'd never been, and seeing their expressions when they would get to someplace they hadn't been before, and and it was fun because I got to tell stories and hear a lot of stories and learn and meet many interesting people. It was so much fun, and there were along that way there
Yeah.
were some. Yeah, there were some trials along the way of doing a tour, especially some of our longer ones. You'd find people who
Yes.
were from New York City, and they'd get into the environment of another city, and they'd feel very confident, but I'd have to warn them not to, because it wasn't as security as what they were used to. So it
Yes.
was interesting. I was in my 20s. Most of those people were in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, and even sometimes in their 70s. So I had
Oh,
to learn some leadership skills pretty quickly because I didn't have any positional leadership over these people. I was much younger than they were. I had to
yeah.
find a way to be able to influence them to follow me and
Yeah.
to keep them safe. So
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Nowadays, we do millennials and Gen Z, uh, Generation Z, they call themselves. They're all better leaders than I can remember I ever was at that age. To be frank with, I still don't consider myself as a leader. I behave like a child most of the time. So tell us, how did you end up becoming John Maxwell's coach?
okay, well,
That's what got me. Oh God, he's a John Maxwell coach. Well, how did he got there?
there through Toastmasters is the answer, and that is that I was the president of my home club,
Yeah.
and in doing that, I was representing our club in a speech contest, and
Okay.
in that particular case, I was actually acting as a sergeant at arms. And a
Okay.
fellow sergeant, there was another sergeant at arms with me, and we became very good friends. And he was a John Maxwell trainer, and he said, "Marty, you have such leadership qualities. You would love becoming a John Maxwell trainer." And I had read some of his books, and as a matter of fact, one of my favorite books of his is this one called the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth. But I hadn't
Wow,
really
that's
understood.
good. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's an awesome. It changed my life,
Wow.
and so in reading that, I discovered. So yeah, let me try that. I looked into becoming a coach. I went through the
Mhm.
certification class, and sure enough, I became a certified trainer for John Maxwell, and it's been awesome because I've learned as much from people as they've learned from me. We do masterminds around books like this one, and also my other favorite one, which is called "Everyone Communicates, but Few Connect." And so we
Yeah.
do, yeah. So it's fun, and that's how I became a John Maxwell trainer. It taught me the 5 levels of leadership, which were
Yeah.
really important because when you first start out, your leadership is based on position. And
Yeah.
so, as a music teacher, I certainly learned that I had positional leadership. I could tell my kids what to do, but as a music teacher, not so much. You could very easily lose that positional leadership because if you didn't emotionally connect with them, they would quit. And
Yeah.
and if it's your first clarinet player and he's in 5th grade, guess what? All the first flute player and the first trumpet player leave with him. So
Yeah.
you had to develop real leadership skills and be able to influence people.
Yeah.
So I use that. But then also ultimately what I found in Toastmasters particularly was you have to be able to develop other leaders. Otherwise you end up filling all the roles yourself. So you have to develop other,
Tell me about it.
right? So and that's the thing. The 5th level leadership is being able to develop other level 4 leaders who can develop other leaders. So
It's about sharing the work as well, isn't it? It's about not micromanaging. It's more of giving them that sense of leaders, sense of responsibility, not sense of responsibility, giving them a responsibility to become responsible, to be frank with. So how did that help you? I know Toastmasters do have a leadership program in their own sense. How did John Maxwell's coaching, and also you've been in sales since the start? I think that's how you could progress. And then how did you introduce me to the bank,
mhm,
which is for I'll let you talk about it.
sure, sure.
Which is a tool where you develop relationship. It is also about understanding the buyer behavior based on your skill set, your communication skills. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So again, Toastmasters connection. I was practicing for an international speech contest. I had won my club's contest and I was advancing on to the area contest. And to do that, the typical thing is to go to other clubs so you get more sophisticated evaluations. Basically, you have people who can evaluate you at a higher level. So I went to another club to do that, and I made my speech. But then there was another speaker who flashed these 4 cards and started telling me about being able to present in the other, why it was important to learn the other person, who the other person was, and how I could do that in 90 seconds. Now, I had done other kind of assessments like DISC and MBTI, and all those things didn't really help me much because it only taught me about me. But what it taught me was that it wasn't. I was asking the wrong question all along. If I was trying to sell my John Maxwell training, I was asking, well, how do I learn to sell better? But the real question I should have been asking was, why do people buy?
Yeah.
And people buy for different reasons based on their values. And she did this 5 to 7 minute speech. And when she was done, I ran up to her. I grabbed her cards and said, how do I get these? She said, give me $20. I happened to have a $20 bill in my wallet. I gave it to her and went home, and I did what they call cracking the other person's code. And the first person's code I cracked was my wife. Now, she's a tough sell because this is her.
Oh, women are tough sell people.
Yeah. Well, and she's a tough sell because she's very much into budget, make sure we don't break the budget, make sure we're not going to lose our house. She's about stability and structure and about the rules. And I am all about nurturing and action and helping people and investing in things, investing in tools and investing in training. And she said, how much money did you spend this month? And why is the bill so high in your American Express? So that could cause some conflict because opposites do attract. We certainly complement each other, but we also learn that opposites can attack. Well, how do you stop that? And this stopped that. We started to understand each other better. And we be able to communicate better. And now the things that we used to fight about, we don't fight about anymore. And I realized how magical that was. And so I looked into it more. And the person who shared it with me at first said, you can go deeper with this. And you can actually become a certified trainer with Bank. And I looked into that. I heard the author, who was actually the author of this book, which is called Why They Buy. Her name is Sherry Tree. Yeah. And I met her. And I said, yeah, I'm gonna become a certified trainer. And that was not this past January, but the January before. And life hasn't been the same since.
Yeah, you've got some coaching workshops coming, right?
Yes.
About that. What is that workshop all about?
Well, so Bank teaches you about emotional intelligence first and foremost. And
so that's where the EQ comes in. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really important because Harvard University has said that EQ, emotional intelligence, is as or more important than IQ. The person with EQ is going to survive and thrive in business, in sales, in all parts of their life. It's the most important thing for people to learn. So by this actually develops EQ in 90 seconds with another person. But of course, we have a digital version where you can do it now. Of course, with COVID, you don't get to do this much. Yeah. But we have a digital tool that lets you do the same thing. So and also an artificial intelligence tool which lets you connect with somebody and find out who that person is, whether they're the kind of person who thrives on flexibility and freedom, or whether they're the person who needs rules and structure, or the person who has a heart of gold and just wants to create a beautiful community and avoid conflict, or the person who just wants to be really perfect and wants to know everything about everything and play with all the gadgets in the world. So you can see just by these 4 things, it's easy to identify the general nature of how a person decides to make a purchase or any decision really in their life.
Yeah. So how did John Maxwell trainer coach or Maxwell trainer and Bank help each other? Like how does this work? How does there must be a link, right? Maxwell talks about communication, leadership, and all of that, and Bank talks about sales and buyer behavior and understanding other people. There should be a fine line between which is connecting these two. What do you think that is?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question because, as I mentioned, one of my favorite books of John's is called Everyone Communicates and Few Connect. And how I made the connection during Valerie's speech was that I realized that the connection is, you can talk about connection, but how do you really do that? How do you really connect with somebody? And the answer was, you have to know, you have to be more interested in them than you are interesting, right? The idea is to be interested in them. So, well, how do you ask a bunch of questions without seeming invasive and seeming like you're giving somebody the third degree? And how do you not create a situation where, and I found that this was a way to do it. Anybody I ever asked to use these cards did it. So in order, it isn't just about sales, Sudha, it's about leadership. When you are a leader, unless you have authority over them, and that kind of wears thin very quickly, you have to be able to, all the other 4 levels of leadership all involve influence and be able to get their permission. Well, how do you get somebody's permission to let you lead them? If you're a leader and you turn around and nobody's following you, you're not much of a leader, right? You have to be able to develop.
There are quite a few people like that.
Right, yeah, now, of course, we all do. We all do, right? We all do. There's people who don't know how to lead because they're not really interested in the other person. We find that all over the world, right? And
that's sorry to cut you off there, because I was going to ask, when you said that, it's more of like, we are in a situation, we are in a volatile situation, even though my optimistic brain says that we are in better situation, we are going to become better. And those things are there. And I am not 100% Pollyanna in any way or form, but we've got to think about it in a different way as we are in business. You've been in business for long, and I'm in business. And there are quite a few of my peers who are in business who are worried sick how we are going to engage the clients and customers, because out of sight, out of mind is one saying goes by, and they've become a little bit more comfortable dealing with things in a limited environment. They're not, even though they miss something, then they find a way. Now, to kickstart our business, we somehow have to connect with them, empathize with them, and consider them. And as your motto says, which is relating to them and retaining them and rewarding them to use us against our competition. How are we going to do this? How do you think we can use these tools to do that? You are top of the mind guy, right? You talk about the branding, you talk about we've forgotten. Our clients have forgotten. They don't even know we exist or not anymore. So how do we do that? How do we remind them so that we can retain them and then reward them for being loyal to us? How can we do that using your tool and your John Maxwell coaching? And there is another one which you told me about, which is, I am intrigued. I'm completely intrigued, because Zoom has become a go-to tool nowadays, even though they've been in use for various reasons. Go-to tool. And you told me, I've got a very good package for you, which includes webinar and all of that. Tell me a little bit how all of these are connecting us.
Sure.
Are going to connect us when we come off the lockdown.
Okay. Well, you're right. My brand is being able to relate, to be able to create connections, to be able to retain clients, and to be able to reward them. It's all about customer service. I mean, if you look at the top companies in the world, they're the ones that give the best customer service. The Southwest Airlines is known for that. Amazon is known for that. Everything. If you don't have a great customer experience, people will walk away, and they have no attention span. You have to be able to retain them. But then you also have to be able to find a way to develop those relationships in a non-spammy way. I mean, even LinkedIn to some degree has become a little spammy. People are pitching, and you can't necessarily decide who to talk to. And what I found a platform recently that I looked at, and what's amazing is that it actually has an algorithm where you have to choose the person that you're going to connect with and make sure that they're on the same page as you. And if they turn out to be a spammer, they actually get thrown off the platform. So there's actually rules around that in an algorithm. So if you're looking for it to create business, business or to create a connection with clients, you can actually make that connection, but you only get approval if they approve you as well. It's a mutual thing, like the old speed dating used to be. But along with that, they also have the tool. So success in business is about three things: mindset, skill set, and tool set. And the third part, the tool set that everybody's using now is Zoom, right? And Zoom costs like $50 or $60 a month if you're using the maximum number of clients, like 500 people on there. And if you're using webinar, it's $50 a month just for that. And I found this platform that's allowing us to do it for $9.99 a month. So I'm saving like $400 a year just on Zoom, along with a tremendous amount of training that I'm getting in there on social media and all kinds of subjects. But the main thing is this engine that's allowing me, and they're just getting ready to launch that part of it, to be able to connect with people with your permission and with their permission.
Interesting. So you take, when you have your coaching client, or when you have your client whom you've got to sell your service, you would be using the engaged. So you crack their code and find out which type of buying personality they are. And so that you can communicate and relate to them of like what is their importance based on your service. It's more of an intelligence tool, right? The bank is an intelligence tool. And then you use Be Connected or whatever service. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That was the right name.
Use that service to get more clients. Is that how it works?
Yes, and to be able to get clients and be able to see, a lot of people say there's books called Go for No, right? So if you're in sales, the idea is go for no, keep getting those no's until you get a yes. But that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Isn't it better to go for yes? And with this, you have the ability. You're not going to get yes every time, but you're certainly raising your odds because you're making that emotional connection with all different kinds of people, not just with. Typically, we tend to attract people like ourselves. As a matter of fact, the Charlie Group, a marketing company, figured out that you're only going to make that sale 18% of the time if you don't connect on a very emotional basis. People will only connect with their own personality type 82% of the time. So would you rather have 18% of the possibility of succeeding or 82%?
Yeah.
And that's the difference is being able to have that emotional connection. But it's not just emotional intelligence, it's sales intelligence. How do you make that connection? It's about business intelligence. Who should you be spending your time trying to talk to? I mean, there are certain people that you're going to connect with, and certain people you shouldn't waste your time with. So how do you know that? That's business intelligence. It's based on data. And then there's emotion. Then there's spiritual intelligence, which is the ability to connect on a very spiritual level. When people reach each other on a very spiritual nature, that's the best relationship of all, right? Yeah. And then there's artificial intelligence. We use artificial intelligence to be able to help us make that communication through email and through Facebook, and being able to find out who that person is presenting as, and then being able to answer in their own personality.
So this is the bank code, and you use Be Connected and webinar features of Be Connected and learning a platform of Be Connected to connect with people. Oh, interesting. So if you could, if you've got anything, if people want to reach you, how are they going to reach you to learn about? If you're watching later on a replay, or if you're watching now, that is the code which is running at the bottom of the screen, is what you need to use to find out what your code is, what your personality is to be. So use that one, and it's free. You get it for 90 seconds or so.
Yep.
So
and you're going to actually get a report about yourself that's valued at $99. But right now we're actually waiving that fee, so you can get it for free if you use that link.
Okay, there you go, people. Straight from the horse's mouth. I'm not calling him horse in any way or form.
You can also, by the way, connect with me at Marty at topofmindgroup.com. Marty at topofmindgroup.com.
Top of Mind Group.
Topofmindguide.com. Right.
Okay, so you can put that email address later in the comment. Yeah, I
Sure.
can't read the comment because we are going through the StreamYard.
Mhm.
So you're on LinkedIn, you're on Facebook, and
Yes.
you're not on YouTube, are you? You
Not
don't
yet,
have
but I guess that's an avenue I should be getting on. Yes.
you should be getting on. You should come to me.
Yes.
You've got Facebook pages as well. We are working together, people, on a messenger ball. That's for another day. Look out for Marty's testimonial. He said, "I'll do it now. No, it's your time to shine, Marty." So that is how you can connect with Marty, people. So I'm going to get him off the screen. He looks so handsome. He's distracting me, so I'm going to get him off the screen and finish off the show, and then we can talk about it later.
Well, I want to just thank you again for inviting me, and just hope everybody has an awesome day and make some great connections.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Making good connections. Yes. Brilliant, Marty. I'm going to get you off the screen, and then now that I can talk to you all about what an interesting interview, wasn't it? Would you agree to that? If you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do go subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do interviews quite regularly, weekly content. I post on there as well, and also connect me on the other platforms where I seem to be omnipresent. That's what I tell myself, and better than God. To be frank with, at least you can talk to me than to God. Anyway, jokes apart, thank you very much for the time and the effort, and also the knowledge Marty shared with us. And if you want to get in touch with Marty, please do crack your code, and also ping him a message. He seems to be always online. Whenever I pinged him a message, it wasn't more than 5 minutes. He gets back to me. So we are working on his messenger bot as well. So that is another thing which he has got a connection with. So get in touch with him, learn. I'll put his email address later, so that he can use his email address and get in touch with him to know how you can get Zoom for a discounted price of $9.99. He said, I don't quote me on this. Go speak to the right person and get yourself sorted. Okay. At this point, people, we cannot go for free, but we've got to get our good offer and grab onto that offer, so that we use our connections better. Thank you very much, and I'll see you all in the next live or the interview show. And if you've joined me and I've not said hi to you, I'm really sorry. I am the one woman band here, so I've got to do everything. Hopefully you'll you're hopefully you'll have a great weekend or week ahead, and a weekend as well. I lost my voice there. Thank you very much, and bye for now.